Okay, so this is one of my story times or like lessons learned from being in a band for a very long time. I'm in my third band. I've been in bands since I was 19, and I've always been the only female in the band. Not for lack of trying. I've tried to find other female musicians, and yeah, it just never worked out. But it does cause some drama with significant others. And I don't know if it's the fact that they don't understand how being in a band works, or they just like to cause drama, or personalities just don't match. Maybe they just don't like me, and it's totally fine. But there's been multiple incidents in my years of being in metal bands. We had this one band member who had a knack for having his girlfriend watch his kids while he was playing shows, and then inviting other girls to come and watch him. Not just one other girl, but like 3 or 4 at the same show. And all girls he was either trying to hook up with or was already hooking up with. And it took a few months of him being in the band before I realized what was happening. And then I was basically told to mind my own business, and that his relationship was none of my business, even though there were fights and there was drama and there was just ridiculous shit that would happen at shows. One time we played a last minute show out of town, and it was a really great show, so we couldn't say no. And I booked our hotel rooms for the 4 of us. He arranged the transport of our gear, and his girlfriend at home offered to watch our son while we were out of town. They had kids. Well, she had her kids, he had his kids, but all the kids would be hanging out. I knew we would be safe. She had watched him before. Everything was fine. So we got to our rehearsal room to pack up our gear, and he had brought an unannounced random chick with him who apparently was going to accompany us on this trip. I was beyond annoyed. I didn't make accommodations for this extra person. We had to rearrange our entire travel setup, and he was obviously cheating on his girlfriend with this girl. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of his and his girlfriend's relationship. Maybe they did have an open relationship. Maybe she didn't give a shit. It looked shady to me. It felt shady to me, and I was more or less annoyed that he just brought an extra person without telling any of us. So all of our travel accommodations, the whole situation just became a cluster. And I'm a project manager, so I plan things like super advanced as much as I can, even for like a last minute show. So anyway, after like 4 hours of driving to where the show was, we had to spend 2 hours unloading another band's gear and then loading gear into the venue. We had to get to our hotel to freshen up a bit before the show. I had to rearrange the whole room setup so they could have their own room. And my husband and I would have to share the 2-bedroom that I got for initially our guitar player and our bass player. So now we had to share a double bed in the same room as our bass player. We weren't even in our room for 10 minutes before he came storming through the door, telling us she was crazy mad at him, yelling, throwing stuff, and kicked him out of the room. The room that I paid for on my credit card, that I got us a sweet fucking hookup on because I had friends that worked at a specific booking website, and I always got like friends and family discounts on it. So I told him to fix the problem, or I was going to fix it for him, because the last thing I needed was some crazy random chick damaging a hotel room that was going to cost me money. So he tried to fix it. We were the next floor up, way down the hall. We could hear the screaming and thuds of things being thrown all the way upstairs and down the hall. He came back into our room to get ready, needed some stuff that he had left there. I volunteered to try to talk to her and see if maybe I could de-escalate the situation. But when I walked into the room, she greeted me with attitude. She was like, "Who the F are you? Why the hell are you here?" She had met me and we'd been traveling and all the gear movement. She was there the whole time. I told her basically, get the F out of the room that I paid for, or I would drag her out. And she threw a lamp at me, screaming, saying that he paid for the room and all this shit. Infuriated, I walked my butt back to our room, told him I was going to get the hotel management involved, and headed to the front desk. I went to the front desk, and the very nice lady there, I told her that there was a person in the room that I didn't want there, and I was paying for the room. And she said, "Oh, great, my boyfriend's the sheriff, and he's on his way here to bring me coffee." And I was like, sweet, that's gonna be great. Then I go back to the room. My guitar player is freaking out. "You can't do that to her. She has nowhere to go." And asked, not to have her escorted out. And then he went down there to try to like cool things off. And I said, "Hey, you're putting the hotel room on your credit card because you brought this random crazy chick, and I'm not going to be responsible for her actions." So he said he was going to do that. And I was just so frustrated. So we were getting ready to leave, and we were getting in the elevator. The band was going to go eat before we had to play the show and all this stuff. And as we were getting ready, we got in the elevator. She got into the elevator, and she got in my face, like started yelling at me. I quickly got right back into hers, informing her that she didn't know who the fuck she was messing with. And I had no issue punching her in the face, but I was going to let her punch me first. As those last words escaped my mouth, the elevator doors opened to the front office where the sheriff and the staff were. And they smiled at me, and I told them I handled it. It's okay. We exited the hotel and went to go like pre-game at a bar next to the venue. And then we went to go get in. And as we're getting in, she's like 3 people behind me. And the guitar player is like, "Oh, well, did we put her on the guest list?" I'm like, fuck no, we're not putting her on the fucking guest list. She can pay to get in just like anybody else, unless she wants to apologize to me and not cause any more drama on this trip. She apologized to me, but I still made her pay. Anyway, there was a whole bunch of other drama that happened that night, but numerous incidents happened with that specific person and random girls. I voiced my distaste for him taking advantage and lying to women. And like I said, I was told to mind my own fucking business. So we fired him eventually, which led to a bunch more drama and just a horrible experience altogether. But this is what's weird about being a female in a male-dominated scene. Like, I see the shitheads. I see shit happen. I do my best to try to speak up about it, and then sometimes it backlashes on me. So do I mind my own business, or do I call it out? Let me know what you think. But thank you for listening to my story time.